3, 2, 1. Welcome to the machine.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, welcome back to our ULTI.TV screens. We've got the mixed division semifinal in front of us here at EUCF 2022. I'm Stefan Rapazzo, pleased to be joined by Sean Culfer in the booth today. Sean, how are we doing? What do we see in front of us here for this semi?
Doing very well. We are here for leftovers from Brno in the Czech Republic against Reading from Reading in the UK. So should be a good game.
Aptly named then.
Exactly.
Reading, as me and Hannah and I discussed earlier, not R-E-D-D-I-N-G, you North Americans. It's spelt like you would say reading, but in fact, these language butchering Brits have made a Reading out of it for some reason or another.
Literally our language, Stefan. Literally our language.
What do you mean? I don't get it. We'll discuss this later. For now, we've got ourselves a tasty treat of a semi-final. Leftovers walked their way through the competition, unexpectedly to some, undefeated to get here. Reading one flaw against Krut, an otherwise very strong performance to get themselves to this semi-final.
Yeah, that game against Group, lightning affected 9-6, I believe, when it was called because of the lightning. Reading were just pulling themselves back into it when it was stopped after a pretty bad start. I believe they went 4-0 down in that game.
Preusel kicks things off for the Czechs. And Koftik. Preusel, big gainer there to the big man Gladish. The drop back, nice clean looking offense, early stages of this first possession. Happy to reset through the middle there. Bing, bang, boom, that one cashes in quickly. Daniel Gladish, the recipient of the goal.
Really nice offense from leftovers, moving it through the center of the wall there, the center of the cup that Reading are trying to set up in the middle of the field. Moved it through pretty effectively 2 or 3 times. Good quick movement when they got through as well to take advantage of breaking through, taking advantage of the numbers that they had there. A nice first point offensively for the Czechs, and for Reading, some kinks to work out in that zone.
First point goes to plan for the Czechs. Reading setting up to take a look, and there's another look of that very first goal.
You can see there between Mark Bignell and Bex Palmer in the zone, the middle of the wall and one of the points for Reading. There was a very big gap, and that was a really easy throw. Didn't even need to gun it in there, just drifted that backhand through to the open receiver, and it's an easy pop for the score.
Reading back in their dark jerseys here against the shiny yellow leftovers. And the pull will set sail. Lands out of bounds. That's going to be bricked.
Wind's picking up a bit.
Wind is picking up a bit, right to left on your screens. Connor Hogan walking it to the spot. Hogan takes the open sideline to Caudron. Return through Lewis and back to Hogan. Roberts. Ooh, that one is low and gets away, and a early break chance for leftovers.
Yeah, Roberts just miscuing there, had an open Lewis, but couldn't quite find the throw. So Reading's O-line going to have to get this back early on.
Jurasek to pick up the disc. Ooh, nice leading throw there through a very tight window. Jurasek gets it back. Sent for goal. That one does count. Kutna does not count. In fact, travel called on the doorstep. Kutna with the disc.
Some discussion, I think, about where she should be after coming back out of the end zone. But it was two great leading passes there. The inside was beautiful, and that one over to the far corner, the leading pass kind of putting a little bit of curve on it to get it out into a path, was a fantastic throw.
You're not at all wrong. Those are scintillators, beautiful throws. And I think we got some translation coming in here. Oh no, that looks like he's giving opinion, perhaps, replaying what he saw. Back in the hands of Kutna. 1 meter out. Jurasek gets open, but it took him a while. Now he gets really open in the big dump, and there's a pick called. Double bicep flex.
Yeah, it's looked as though Sam Wilson on the mark there fell over, and I think he's called a pick, but it looks like he's quite a long way away on that pick. But I don't know, it seems as though we're having a decent amount of discussion here. Fair enough, catching up a little bit.
A little bit of catch up after the pick. Not so much catch up in the semifinals. The Austrians were eliminated. Jurasek, ooh, that's a speculator. Second chance though. Hangs on. Jurasek is quarterbacking this counterattack for the Czechs. Leads forward Kutna. Shot for goal, that one in. 81 is Rezak with the goal, and it's 2-0 for leftovers.
Other than that slightly speculative throw, as you said, Steph, I think that's really good offense from the leftovers D-line. Taking a lot of good options, patient, going backwards when they need to go backwards, not trying to force it into the end zone, waiting until someone's open. There was one throw that popped up a little bit, and it was an impressive read and a good second effort. But a good start for leftovers, obviously getting that break early on. Reading going to need to wake up a little bit here.
Indeed they will. First thing they're going to need to do is hold their error, of course, coming off a mechanical error, throwing error, hit the turf on a short pass, one that any thrower would want back. And nice patience out of leftovers. They used the short field, didn't rush anything, and made it count for a converted break.
They're a team that's got very solid fundamentals. They were really impressive in grinding out results in their pool. Just basically don't beat themselves. They are not a team who's going to hand it to you. They're going to make you earn it. If you beat them, you're going to have to really beat them. They're not going to throw it at the ground. They're not going to throw it out. They're not going to miss people.
That pull would tell you otherwise.
It's not the best pull I've ever seen.
But there are arms out.
That looks to me as though it's the incorrect gender matchup.
And was maybe that noticed mid-pull?
Well, if an incorrect gender matchup does mean you can either treat it as a timeout or as a repull, it looks like Reading have said just repull.
And fix it first.
Reading with the disc now. Center to Lewis.
Andy Lewis with the disc. Set back, now centered. Feeling better about life with my new ULTI.TV sticker. I can get back to commentating. Ooh, and there is a wobble getting up, but she seems okay now, does Nicole Lester. But that little wobble, I was curious if she had potentially injured herself going down, but she gets up. Another turnover is the key takeaway there. Leftovers, big bid on the hip. Kuntna centers. Wield goes deep. That has a horrible angle on it. It's coming out of bounds most certainly, but it's caught and kept inbounds. My certainty is off today. Shot for goal. It's collected now. They are going to contest the certainty of that being in or not, and we might have a good look at this.
Yeah, it looked to me like it was in, and it looked to Connor Hogan like it was in. It looked like he started stalling pretty much immediately. Looked like it was good feet on the sideline after the catch. But we're going to get a replay on our big screen here, surrounded by several of the players.
He's in. Both feet were in bounds. There's no doubt about it. But for some reason, it's coming back. I guess everybody stopped because of the discussion of whether it was in or not. The goal doesn't count. The catch does count in bounds.
I think that's a good outcome. Definitely some people stopped to see whether it was in. Great catch and great feet, because he's very close to the sideline there. It's very impressive coordination. And it looks like as the disc was tapped in, he picked up some grass to check where the wind was going.
Yep.
Very calm.
Player.
Very calm.
Sivnerova sends back. Ooh, and that one in and out of the hands of Andy Lewis. They give it right back.
Looked like Andy Lewis was trying to help it into his hands there. Didn't quite know what was coming.
Connor Hogan picks up, gets Lewis. Andrew Lewis shoots deep. Coward there has time. Defense could never track that one. And Coward hauls in the goal after a very dangerous, almost second break chance for leftovers.
Rosie Coward still very young. I believe she is 18 or 19. She's still very young. One of the breakout players of the UK mixed season. It's been excellent for Reading, and that is a great shot from Andy Lewis to find her. Reading doing well to get it back after that turnover, but this is a nice start for leftovers. 2 turns, 2 opportunities for their D-line, converting one of them. Reading in a little bit of a difficult situation at the moment, dealing with this intense leftovers pressure.
Szczepanik there with the catch on the sideline earlier. That, again, another look at Rosie Coward. Szczepanik was the one who kept his feet and made the haul in front of Connor Hogan, kept it in. Unfortunate for him, his first throw didn't count. And on the reset, they gave it back to Reading. Reading with the pull. Marius Hutchison. That one lands straight out, and they'll play from the brick mark.
Marius Hutchison, a World Games training squad member. I realise I said that just after he punted a pull right out of bounds. Not necessarily the best time to highlight that kind of thing.
Well, oh, and they snack on one there that bounces off the chest of Brandstetter. And now Hutchison and Bignall going the other way. Oh, a hand on it, but Hutchison with the bailout grab. Hutchison gets Bignall. Bignall working that pivot foot, gets Hutchison again, now far sideline. Great breakthrough, very quick around and across to Andrew Watt for the goal.
That's the benefit of having 2 lefty handlers in Bignall and Hutchison. They can get those quick flicks out on that break side nice and early. Good movement from the Reading handlers and a good break from Hutchison for the score, and that is a break back.
Break back, Mount. So, break back. We are on serve, leveled for score, and the Czech outfit will receive again, hoping to dictate pace and get their holds.
Pretty much a new D-line here for Reading. Only Bignall and Bex Palmer staying on. Bignall, who arrived today, so should be feeling much fresher than everyone else on this field.
Oldest player on that team. Ripe age of 34, did he tell us? 36.
34. He is my age. Played against him at Masters this year, where they beat us relatively comfortably in a very annoying game.
He was not interested in sharing any team insights on strategy or tactic, how they're going to be approaching. He's just here to play.
Yep.
He does his job, gets in late, brings his fresh old legs, and does his simple tasks. Here come Priozl and the Czechs. Who would have thought the leftovers were the Czech team that would advance the furthest in this tournament after the 3SB hype in both other divisions? But leftovers give one up, and Reading now on the doorstep. Bignell, hammer, other way, and that's too far. They can't handle that. Coons whips one out the back and never gave a chance at all to Watt.
Ryan Coons, one of the captains of this team, looking for Danny Ryle. Just a little bit too far. Wind pushing it away. Ryle's a big target in the end zone, but a little bit too spicy.
Yeah, not that big. He's not the Incredible Hulk. Second chance to hold for leftovers. Gladish gets a nice one upfield to Brandstetter, sporting a very interesting choice for a sporting hat.
I was going to point that out. I absolutely love that fashion choice.
Whatever the opposite of love is my opinion on that one. Gladish, oof. And that one kept alive only barely by Preusel. The gentlemen of the leftovers side have been getting the bulk of touches on this second series, and Bignell takes that one away.
Might be old legs, but they are still there for a big layout block. That's what not playing as many games as the rest of these youngsters gets you.
The stroll to the disc by Dom Knight. One throw, bang, that one counts. Ryan Coons with the goal, and Reading take their first lead of the game with a break.
Really good defensive point from Reading, putting a lot more pressure on the handler set than they put on previous defensive points. Doing a really good job going match D. We saw zone in the first point, didn't really work. They've gone to match and they're getting some good pressure out of it. Huge block from Bignell. Nice easy score for Ryan Coons. Ryan Coons was made the Clapham training squad a couple of years ago, but as a Reading captain, he stayed with Reading for Worlds. And that is a nice easy find for Dom Knight.
Clapham, of course, just won their semi-final against CUS Bologna. We were treated to that one on the other field. A heck of a match, and the second semi, Ranelagh and Heidi's, was a lopsided affair where Ranelagh wiped the floor with them. So we will have our first Irish feature in an EUF final. Ranelagh taking on Clapham in the big dance tomorrow.
Ranelagh and Clapham played each other many times so far this season. It hasn't gone particularly well for Ranelagh so far, so I'm sure they'll be looking to turn that around.
They've got a few things to turn around. Their on-stream jinx has been rectified, so maybe they can rectify their Clapham jinx next.
And maybe the leftovers offense can get back on track here.
Here they come. Gladish has been very regularly involved. Stepanik and his hat can't get away with a completion there, and Reading with another chance.
Yeah, two players looking at each other and shrugging there. Clearly just a complete blown communication.
Withers picks up. Zips one up to Joe Brown. Brown deep to Palmer. Hangs on, two hands. Safe as houses, making plays, looking sharp.
Yeah, if you're throwing a relatively speculative, difficult to read throw to the end zone, no better player to throw it to than a World Games player. Bex Palmer reeling it in after that turnover for leftovers. It looks as though a Reading calling a timeout. I'm not sure who's called the timeout, but we are going to have a timeout after that mini run by Reading.
With that timeout, we'll take a break. We'll all be back to you by the time they're back in action. You don't go anywhere.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV. ULTIleague.net.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Reading send the pull after the timeout. Gladish confused with the pull landing, and Reading in good defensive position for the first throw. Brandstetter and Gladish have been on for the last 3 points in a row, at least those two. And they look for each other, but don't take it. Batushek, Gladish. Gets the under. Kmekova. Gladish. Gladish up line. Brandstetter. Big OI backhand. That one looks on the money. And it is on the money. Batushek with the goal. And the Czechs stop the bleeding.
Yeah, good haul for the Czechs. As you say, there was two players that are particularly involved, isn't there? Blaszczak is really involved in the handler space. He's doing a lot of the moving around, but incorporate a few more players as they move it down the field, and it's a really good throw for a score. And now they can go back out on D and try and put some pressure back on Reading, because at the moment it looks as though Reading are in the ascendancy.
It looks very much like that. Ascendancy aside, whoever gets through this game will have to move on to play the mighty Groot, who have been rolling their way through this tournament. We'll get score updates to you when we can, if they are continuing to roll or not. But for the time being, they have. And the one good thing about this, if it stays tight, we're 4-3, 1 point game. I always like the battle-tested participant, combatant in the final. The one that had to fight a bit more tooth and nail to get there is just a little bit more prepped for those games.
Steel, sharp and steel, they say, after all.
Steel, chop and steel after all. I like that. Lewis gets the under to Lester. Lester, high stall count. Finally gets it away, Wilson. Zips one to Hogan. Near sideline. Hogan fakes the big around. Then gets the up line. Hill is there. Lawrence Hill sneaks one in. Wilson with a nice cut to make himself open in a small space in the corner.
That little shimmy from Lawrence Hill before he got free to go up the line was absolutely lovely. Sold his defender one way, goes up the line in loads of space, and Sam Wilson was open for a lot at that point. One of the fastest players in UK mixed, probably one of the fastest players in European mixed, always a good option. There was really good spacing from the offense as well. Helen Roberts offering a good dump reset if Lawrence Hill wasn't open. The Reading offense kind of has overcome those jitters a little bit in the first couple of points, and they look very good there. See Hill streaking up the line, loads of space, and it's a nice, easy completion to Wilson, who attacks that inside shoulder, sets his defender up, waits for his defender to set his feet, and just attacks the inside shoulder. Good offense.
Good offense. The Czechs making that one look good. Down. Reading making that one look good. Czechs down a double. 5-3 the score. Early days of the game. 20 minutes in. That pull looks, it looked very good, but it's a brick.
Very
not
close.
Not far from being
close.
very, very good.
Yeah. That's going to be Bignell's style with pulling. Much like some of the other teams here, He's going to go for the big one with the thinking that if we brick it, it's not a terrible outcome, but we could get a great outcome 3-4 times out of 10.
Yeah, I like it. Gladish and Brandstetter continuing to initiate. They've gone to each other once and again. Not a great throw, but collected on a spin. Now the dump. Preusel engages Brandstetter. Shot for goal, and it counts. I didn't even see the reception there, but it was snuck in for goal.
Yeah, Gladish and Brandstetter really the straw that stirs the drink, or the straws, I suppose, that stir the drink for this leftovers offense. They're involved in almost every aspect of the offense. You've got Gladish catching the pulls, being involved down there. Brandstetter the first cut, sometimes the second cut, the third cut. Both of them really crucial to this team.
Very much so. They drive the offense. They do, almost all of the initiation. They do all of the initiation for the leftovers offense.
It's Reading's task to try and neutralize one or both of them. It looks as though is Gladish coming onto the D line here. It looks like it. So already leftovers crossing people onto D line. We saw Clapham do that in the Open final. We've seen Open semi-final. Sorry, we've seen people do that over the course of the weekend, crossing people over quite early, not leaving it until late to try and make that comeback.
No time late. Lawrence Hill with the disc finds Andy Lewis on a short return route. Big is faked from Wilson. Now around to Lewis. He had to off-balance catch up. 27, Roberts fakes and gets to Wilson. Far side of the field, Lawrence Hill. The defense dragged off and the easy return throw became available. Gladish wrapping a little bit, kicks his man and apologizes on the mark. Lawrence Hill gets the under from Roberts. Roberts gets the up line from Wilson. Wilson takes the big. Lewis is all alone. If the disc returns, it does. Well played, well read. Beautiful reception from Andy Lewis.
That is absolutely fantastic feat. It's a nice spot from Wilson. Thought maybe he put a little bit too much edge on it, just sent out the side of the pitch, but a great read, as you say, Steph. Really great feat from Lewis. That was very slick offense from Reading, wasn't it? It was every player on the field touched that disc. It felt like it.
It did indeed feel like it. They were never stagnant, never a stall count more than 4, and maybe even less than that. They were moving, effectively making space from whatever part of the field they wanted, and in the end, a nice enough throw with an excellent reception.
The making space is really something to look at there as well, because you can see people cutting into a space. If they haven't received it, they're sprinting to the other side of the field, clearing the space in front of the disc. They're clearing space for their teammates. Everyone's working really hard, and that's what you need to do for good team offense. That's exactly what we saw from Reading on that point.
So, Bex Palmer set to pull. Reading up 6-4. The leftovers squad on their own goal line. Preusel dumps back.
No Gladish here, no Gladish.
Liscoza was very angered about the setup. She had, a great bid and off 2 hands. And Wilson straight away in for goal. Reading looking strong. Imi Wong with the goal.
You could see there after that really good layout bid to try and get there on the swing pass. Marius Hutchison, take a look up, see who's around. And that lefty handler again, Steph, we mentioned it earlier. Lefty handler can get a nice early flick out, and Imi Wong is wide open in the end zone. Reading D-line with a big break there, but that was a point without Gladish on the field. We mentioned him, he was the key handler, and it looked like the handler set was a little lost without him.
Looking a little bit lost. Reading looking a little bit stronger with every new minute right now.
Got both hands to that.
That point particularly, that one hurt for Preusel. 2-hand drop. And as you said, it's Hutchinson with a very quick lefty flick. Imi Wong, get those hands up and celebrate.
Breaks are big in any game. Got to celebrate them every time.
Celebrate those breaks. We never get to the bottom of what constitutes the Ranelagh rocket launching celebration. I wonder if it's just like momentous points, or if it's for break points, or if it's for huck scores. But I do like their Nerf gun rocket celebration.
Yep, it's my favorite celebration I've seen so far. They definitely do it on every break, but they have done it on some O points as well that I've seen. So I think you might be right onto something on the momentous points.
Right. Well, the O-line has put Gladish back where he belongs on the field. At the back of the stack, though, not where we have seen to see him start. Leftovers. Preusel gets the dump. Batushik. Preusel getting some of their ladies involved. Kvetkova. Preusel, midfield. There it is, jacked. Brandstetter cannot quite get there. Had the separation, throw had too much on it, lost his snazzy hat.
A lot of edge on that throw. That was a really, really difficult read. He did a great job getting there. Really tough catch with the offhand. Low down, going at speed. Couldn't quite reel it in. But another situation where they're looking for the same people, as you say. Steph looked like they got Kmetova involved a little bit there, but we're still seeing a lot of the same names for leftovers. And I think they need to diversify slightly and try and work the full width of the field. They're kind of stuck in a box offensively at the moment.
The underthrow comes, Bignell. This is a half-taking break if they can get away with it. Ryle quickly over to Klima. Klima winding up that forehand, but nothing to throw to yet. Then she zips one to Coombs. Bignell, back to Coombs, very quick, back to Bignell. Withers now with all his team upfield and still centers to Coombs without losing meters. Scott, with a mounting stall count, gets it to Withers. Ooh, nice cut by Bignell, but Gladish very glad to get those fingers out and gets a hand block in the action.
Yeah, definitely a hand in there. I think it didn't come quite out of the hand of Ben Withers exactly as he wanted it to, but really needed block for leftovers there. As you said, Steph, that was for half.
Gladish gets it moving. Lichoka continues, but continues it to ground. And Reading get a second chance to take half. Bignell showing that he might want to take a timeout here.
Yeah, sensible decision, I think, after a frantic D trying to cover it. He's taking his time walking over there, but he has indeed called a timeout.
That is one of the slowest timeouts I've ever seen. Bignell looks banged up out there for a guy who arrived today.
He's got old legs there.
When he's playing, he looks good, but in between points, he's showing his age. We're going to take a break, too. We'll be right back with you.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
back in action after the timeout, quite legitimately. Bignell, disc in hand. Looking at a vertical stack. Coombs comes out first. Palmer on the break side. And Bignell happy to break. Palmer zips one upfield. Klima. Withers. Far sideline, centering to Coombs. Wind picking up a little bit. Bignell turned his head before he had that reception. Very confident play out of him. Palmer on the doorstep. Reading getting stronger by the second until Klima lets that one pop and back out.
Yeah, a lot of sauce on that throw from Bex Palmer with the wind as well. It was a really tough catch for Klima. Can't quite really hit it high above her head. It's a shame because it was really good offense for Reading straight out that timeout. You see turnout sometimes where it's turnover out of a timeout. It was exactly the opposite for Reading there. It was really nice stuff.
Oh, and they get it straight back. That throw, there was very few options. Palmer gets the sticky mid on it, hauls it in, and Reading are going to take half with that one, Sean.
Yeah, we talked about Palmer putting sauce on a throw. Coons put a lot on that one, but Palmer sticks a hand out, and it sticks in there like she's got super glue all over it.
Wow.
So great half for Reading after a little bit of a slow start on that first couple of points.
Palmer, Bignell, and the Reading crew getting stronger. Checks. Got to check their game plan. Maybe use a little bit more of those ladies, change something up, different initiations, but something's got to give. They're going to talk about that at halftime. We're going to take a break, and you guys fill up your glasses and get back to our screens.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Second half action, 8-4, Reading getting stronger as they go, putting on a little bit of flex to close out that half. They are 7 points away from a feature in the final. Leftovers, of course, a few more than 7, but not counted out of this one by any stretch yet. They have gone undefeated for a reason over the course of this weekend, and they surely, through a string of 5 wins, 6 wins, have found some mettle to overcome and what they might need to get to the end of this one with a victory. That one lands in and is a magnificent pull to start the second half, almost on a Callahan grab, and now a gender issue or an offside.
I believe what's happened is the pull's landed and slid out, which means that Caorle needs to bring it to the front of the end zone. Rather than from the back as she did.
Let's have a look if our cameras agree. It did land in and drag out.
So that needs to come to the front of the end zone rather than from the back, which is the reason for the violation.
Wind picking up, Reading fighting against the wind, an upwind point here in their own end zone. That one to Wilson is complete, and now Andy Lewis. Lewis shoots deep, has a receiver, has two, but it's Helen Roberts getting a hand to it, unable to close that hand on it.
That was a tough grab for Roberts, and I don't think she realized that Wilson was behind her in maybe a slightly better position.
Oh!
That is a fantastic layout D for Lewis, so doesn't really matter.
Andy Lewis throwing his body around, outside swing and swipe to knock it away and prevent any body contact. Great D there by Andy Lewis. Hogan up and around on a backhand break, on a high release backhand break, in fact. Andy Lewis gets a backhand break of his own. That one's going to count. Beautiful throwing, beautiful throw selections out of the Reading handlers to cash that one in.
Yeah, and great structure as well. You could see that they set up with that one handler, everyone else in the stack, so there's loads of space for the front cutter who's initiating there. Lawrence Hill finds some space, and Andy Lewis steps all the way around his mark. Nice break after Hogan's break, running it down that break side, and it's another point for Reading, closer to that final.
1 point closer would mean 1 point further for the outfit from Borno. They are getting outplayed, and this is a stage of the game where it would be easy to let heads drop. It is a stage of the game where digging deep is the type of vernacular you hear from coaches and whatnot to find something to change this. It takes always one hold to get out of a rut. Here's their chance. One hold is, for me, it always takes three things. First is a hold, then is a break, and the third thing is another break, but it becomes the run. And then that is a momentum change. It's 3 points in a row is another way of putting it. But hold, breaks, run is what they need. Get the hold. They are down by 5 early in this game, early in the second half.
You just can't look at the scoreboard. You need to block that out of your head completely. Just focus on what you're doing and try and, like you say, Steph, just stop this bleeding, get on the track, and just ask some questions to the offense and see what you can do.
And here they come. Kanchka. Up line into a small space. There was a poach, so somebody's open. That one mishandled by two players, but more primarily by the first. Brandstetter got two hands on that and couldn't close them.
The bid that came in from Swarova would have been an absolutely fantastic layout catch. But unfortunately, leftovers, we said they're going to need to get this hold and stop the bleeding. Well, they have a second opportunity here as there's a confusion between Brown and Knight.
Given straight back, Brandstetter to Gladish, back to Brandstetter. A pivot into the mark there. Bounce off, no call. That one does count. There's a call on the play before Batushik will celebrate. He celebrates with a spike, and they've got their hold now. D-line leftovers. Find a way to get your D-line rolling.
Yeah, it's the first of your three keys for this game, Stefan. A nice hold for the O-line. A little bit fortunate. There was a bit of a miscommunication between Knight and Brown. Brown faked a cut and Knight threw to it, but you can only take advantage of things as the O-line if they give it back to you. As we see, Brandstetter gets two hands on that. Double layout trying to get there. But it was a good quick break offense after they got the disc back, and a nice open pass for the score. Good cutting at the front of the end zone. Dom Knight just gets a little square, allows his mark to just get in front of him for that score. So this leftovers D-line has certainly asked some questions of the Reading O-line. Early in the game, the O-line looked a little jittery. Leftovers have definitely got the athletic ability to push Reading hard.
Hogan to Lewis. Defense chance a coming as Lewis sends that one up. It's a little floaty, but wow, you got teammates that are going to make plays like that, like Wilson, and you can get away with some float.
It's tough as a D-line to make any inroads on an offense when there's a one undercut and then bang deep to a receiver who's just able to beat your mark deep. Wilson with a couple of steps. You could see he had separation almost immediately. The throw hung up in the air, but it didn't matter. He climbed the ladder and ripped it down. So we see an inside throw to Andy Lewis. Leans back a little, puts it up in the air. With this wind, it's drifting away from us at the camera, but great catch from Wilson.
5 on this field. Looking over at the other field, our score tells us it's 6-5 Groot in front of Disconnection. That would be a massive upset to see Disconnection knock off Groot. Anything can happen out here. EUCF, these are the best teams in the continent. Groot, of course, a great pedigree behind them, but Disconnection not backing down by the looks of things.
Yeah, the team from Freiburg were looking pretty good. I was quite surprised to see that they'd lost to a couple of teams, considering how talented they look to be, how quick they can move the disc. So clearly they are putting everything they've got into that group game.
Another chance to hold Kmetsova. Breitenstad. Gladys Kmetsova. Preusel. Gladys working around that end zone. Break around to Gladys, still not in. That one lefty straight into Bex Palmer. Foul, no contest, straight back to Gladys.
Yeah, we're still seeing a lot of the male matching players on leftovers handling the disc, but Kmetsova looks like she's a good player. There was a really good inside backhand break there. We might see more of her as this game carries on.
And that one snuck in very quickly for a goal. It's Batushek with the goal, and they cut into that lead a little bit. It's another hold. Another chance for their D-line to get out there. Another chance for their D-line to start this string of breaks.
I wonder, Steph, whether they need to try something a little different. They've tried match a few times in the last few points, and Reading are just running free. They've got the athletes to get separation and to work down the field in chunks. Reading, like Groot, made the quarterfinals at Worlds for a reason. They're a very, very, very good team. They're not just one of the best teams in Europe, they're one of the best teams in the world. And leftovers at the moment are basically just letting them stay in their comfort zone. I wonder whether they need to try something a little different to try and push them out of that comfort zone.
Change it up a bit. Give them a zone, show them a transition, give them some junk. Let's get a little more switchy. But yeah, you're right. It is. It's time. It's always a shame to, you can't get to the end of the game playing one defense and lose it without trying digging in your bag of tricks.
Yeah,
as far as
never lose a game without playing a zone.
Exactly. It's never lose a game without playing a zone. You said that so much more simple than I had. As chewing on marbles there. Thanks for being here, Sean. 10-6. That one another deep pull, but too deep. Out the back. It's 7-5 over on that other field right now, so Groot did enough to get ahead. Pop one in, but they're in a tight one there. Here, there's some separation. Disc in hand for Hogan and Reading. Answers being sought for leftovers. Hill. Wilson. Roberts. Hogan. That one's knocked away, not even, just intercepted. Brandstetter wanted the deep really, really badly and didn't take it, instead to Batushek. Batushek gets the under. Stepanik goes deep over most of the team, but not everyone. Smacked down to ground at the back of the stack by the Reading defender.
Yeah, look like Ruth Cordron at the back there, just able to get her hand up and knock it away. It's another situation or another point I should say, I suppose, where leftovers working through their male matching players. It looked like there was some separation on a couple of those female matching players going deep, but we've seen a lot of the male matching players from leftovers, and I think that is, at the moment, the big advantage Reading have. They're not only comfortable with moving it through their whole team, but their whole team is very good.
Connor Hogan with the disc. Gets the under to Lester. Continuation of Wilson. He winds up the big, but does not take it. Hogan moves to Hill. Caudron. Lewis is free and begging for it. Gets it. And finally has a defender on him. Wilson back to Lewis. Pop over to Caudron. Hill with a blind defender. Now shot to Lewis. Lewis over pursued, but it was the throw that was off.
The throw is off, but I think as the throw comes out, clearly there's too much edge, particularly in this wind, and it does flip over a little bit, but Lewis comes back in towards it. I think if he holds his line, it is coming towards him. I know it's tough because it looks like the defender's going to develop and make a good contest on it, but I think Lewis, if he'd held his line, not attacked the disc so early, he might have had a chance at it, but you are right, obviously, the throw is not what Hill wanted it to be.
Nothing's what you want it to be when the result's a turnover.
This philosophy going on here.
Leftovers are gonna bring this one into play. Zip one to Brandstetter. He wants the big. He always wants the big, it seems. Jurasek. Now the big comes. Kotina underneath it. Kotina cashes in. An all-important hold. They're excited. It's nice to see this energy. They still got to put the D-line on the field and get the same result, but it's nice to see the energy on the hold.
I think that was a break, Steph. That was Reading's O-line.
That was Reading's O-line.
There's the second one of your 3 key.
Holy moly, it's happening.
It's also nice to see leftovers throwing to one of those women who was going deep. One of their female matching players had space going deep and they exploited it. We have not seen that too much in this game.
Well, now the third key. But before the third key, we've got a timeout. They're going to take a break. They're going to talk about it. We're going to take a break. You get your glasses topped up like we said and stick to your screens. We'll be back soon.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you. We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI League. ULTILeague.net.
ULTI League coming at you, but right now, Reading leftovers begging for the third part of the keys to momentum swinging. They need to make this a run with another break. Hogan with the disc. Lewis back to Hogan. Hogan's got some space now. Gives it up with a descent in speed. Lester. Oh, the bid came, but not quick enough. Klima's got it, and now turned over and given away. Brandstetter. Brandstetter chucks deep. Not the best looking throw I've seen in my life.
No, very, very big edge on that. It's coming in very sharply, and Emma Klima takes up a great position, blocks everyone out, and makes sure it goes down to the turf.
Very forced huck, maybe Czech style, very Toshnarova style, as Rahel loves to just insist on hucking. We get the same out of Brandstetter there, and he really wanted that. He does get it back, though. The Czechs get another chance. Can this run become itself?
You could see Nicole Lester beat her mark, and as soon as she started coming under, Brandstetter started running straight across that field. He read that play from a mile away.
Brandstetter shoot deep. There's a pick on the call, but the disc goes down, so the pick don't matter.
I think both teams probably have to agree that it's a turnover. It looks like everyone is satisfied that it is a turnover. An ambulance goes past.
Hopefully whoever's in that is being well taken care of, and we wish the best for them, of course. Connor Hogan picks up the disc. Gets Wilson on an easy under, and then another easy Lewis look there. Space on the marks, and Lewis misses Coward. Third chance for this all-important break. Kutna gets Giorasek. Swing across into center. Schnepanik. Oh, and a flubbed drop. Zelezna puts it down to ground. We have got a hot collection of turnovers going on right now.
We did say that leftovers need to try something slightly different, and we are seeing a lot more switching. They're putting a shell on the D, and the Reading long game, which is working really nicely for them, is not firing at the moment because there's always a leftovers player in the way.
Zelezna gets it straight back. A little bit of contact, no fouls. I like that. I believe that was incidental tumbling. Brandstetter again, he wants the big, he takes the big. Receiver there, two defenders. Hoagie steps in front and gets a hand on it in the sandwiching defense.
And Nicole Lester on the ground again. She is a player who will throw herself into situations where she's going to get potentially knocked around a little bit. She's always in the wars. Very, very brave defender.
And while Connor Hogan walks it back, a shout out to Force Sportswear, the company that is sponsoring this tournament, doing some great gear. Our swag, the ULTI.TV crew, looking phenomenal. Almost a Callahan as that, in, out, through the skipping rope. Everybody get hit, banged up, man, woman down rather. And they're going to have a discussion before that one counts as a goal.
That was a big collision. It looked as though, I can't see the number of the Czech player, but Nicole Lester's come in to try and stop a little pop at the front of the end zone, and the guy's come across. It looks like the elbow as he's turned has hit her in the head. That's what it looked like from here. She comes across to try and stop this pop, and as she turns, there we go, it just runs right into her.
Pivots. The player with the disc, the throwing player, pivoted through the defender. And she did take a very hard impact, the shoulder there. I'm not sure it was a foul. I do believe the defender moved into the pivoting space.
It was a cutter. It's definitely a cutter. It's the guy in the blue hat here who ended up trying to catch it at the back. It was not Brandstetter, I think, who hit her.
I thought it was Brandstetter who hit her.
It's this one here, the blue hat. I can't see the name. I'm not sure who it is, but that's Brandstetter's. Look, Brandstetter pivots forward, and then the blue.
Yes. Then that is indeed a foul.
Yeah. Don't believe it's a turnover though. The disc's not. It's not a play. Nicole Lester's not trying to make a play on the disc, and the foul impedes her doing so. So it's going to stay with Brandstetter, but
just nullify the goal.
Thankfully, she looks okay, which is the main thing there. As I say, she is quite often in the wars, Nicole Lester.
Disc is in. Brandstetter quick and dropped. Unbelievable.
That is a tough one to take for the leftovers, because that would have been exactly what you were talking about, Steph. That's the third part.
That was the third part of the momentum swing. The hold, the break, and the double break to make the run, but instead they get a two-hand drop on a very short field. Timeout called. They're going to think about it. Reading's going to get a long field to look at when we all come back. Just about back in action here. I hope you enjoyed a look at all the replays of this game so far. Reading took control of this game early, and the Czechs right now are in the midst of trying to take some of this momentum back. They are scratching and clawing at it. This goal would be an official momentum swing if they get it, but it's in the hands of Reading for the time being. Lewis with the disc. Near sideline, Hogan engaged, doesn't like it, goes deep, Roberts there, too far in front.
Yeah, the Reading offense is definitely slowed down slightly. Leftovers are changing things up a bit, giving them some different looks, a little bit more straight up on that force on this sideline, not letting anything go up into that inside space. And they've been doing a good job switching, going deep, forcing Reading to take options they don't necessarily want. It's been much better for leftovers for the last couple of points. We did talk about what they needed to change defensively. They must have a source on the stream somewhere, because they've done exactly that.
They've got somebody listening and reporting back to the coach on the sideline. Here come leftovers. The third kick at this can for this all-important run-making break. The under comes and completed by Zalezhna. Kutna with the disc. Upline in a small space there. Jurasek. Stepanik. Around Jurasek. Upline zipper, that's for goal if it counts. It does. What a catch, what a throw. And momentum, my friends, has officially shifted. They're still 2 behind, but that's 3 on the hop.
And that is part 3 of Steph's plan. You get a hold, you get a break, and then you get another break. And that right there is another break. Really good point for leftovers. Even if they hadn't scored that point, you could look at that as a minor win. They kept that Reading O-line out for a long, long, long time, taking a lot out their legs, but they have scored it. Best case scenario, now they can put out a fresh D-line and challenge what I imagine is going to be a D-line from Reading.
changing things up, making them adjust. This is what you want to do. I mean, you got to keep your D-line on the field if you want to win a game, especially if you want to win a game coming from behind. Keep them on the field. What did they do different? How can they keep that? Do they got to keep doing different things now, or did they figure it out? Did they pick their defense and they can stick with that now? This is the chess game they're playing for the rest from here till the end. They've still got work to do, but they have taken momentum right now. It's all leftovers energy. 3 in a row is enough, even when you're down by 2, to say that this is our game right now. Where it's us with the confidence. It's us with the puffed out chests.
Yeah, I'm always a proponent. If you found something that works, keep doing it until they figure it out. You don't want to switch it up and give them a chance to stop the flow with a different thing. If you've figured something out, you've given them some problems, keep doing it and keep giving them problems. It looks like it's pretty much an O-line for Reading, other than Mark Bignell and Bex Palmer have come across from the D-line. 2 of the most experienced Reading players on this team.
Bignell to Lewis. Lewis jacks it deep. Wilson on the chase. Defense in front, but not as big. And that up was magnificent. Hard spike out of Wilson. A great defensive effort by Stepanek, but just a better and a bigger body on the reception.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do about that as a defender. He's really done a good job of contesting it. Stepanek has got close to Wilson. He's really put a lot of pressure on. It's a great grab from Wilson. It's a good throw from Lewis, but that is exactly what wasn't working in the last couple of points for Reading. So they've done a good job going back to the well on that deep shot. Lewis finding Wilson, and now they get their D-line out there. And leftovers have got to consolidate that momentum now. They've got to get this hold and get the D-line back out. You can't waste all that good work that's been done by the D-line.
Must hold, must hold. They're not back in as dire of a situation to get that trio of runs. That said, they will need a similar trio to win this game. But right now, another hold. Just, okay, you did the job. You got a momentum shift. A point conceded on a clean hold. Now get your hold back.
Gladish and Brandstetter back out there again. We have seen them on the field for pretty much every point. I don't know if Brandstetter's come off. I think
Brandstetter maybe not. Gladish for 1 or 2 points, but Brandstetter is he's either calling the lines and hogging space, or they've got a lot of confidence on him and they'd insist he stays out there.
Yeah, we've seen that flat cap tearing around a lot.
The pull knocked to the ground ineffectively, but finally knocked down, and Kreuzl gets it going. Walk through defense. Bignell, Hutchinson, Bignell again. Reading can break back, and this one hurts for leftovers. Reading take their dominance back with a break and up 12-8 late in this game.
You are exactly right, Steph. That one hurts because it's not as though Reading have made a great play. Reading have snatched it away from you. You've tried to do something and not quite done it right. It's just a bad throw right in the backfield, giving Reading a short field, and then 3-4 passes, nice and easy. Just put the wrong edge on it, and it's gone straight to Bignell's chest. They work it around, and Joe Brown is wide open in that left-hand corner of the end zone for Marius Hutchison to find. They don't even have to go to flicks. So open, they can just throw backhands on the flick side.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Lemon squeezy appropriate, given the squeeze that the Czechs in yellow are feeling at the moment.
Indeed they are. I definitely thought that one out before I said it. And what a wonderful time of the day here in Caorle. Sun on its way down to setting. Temperature wonderful. Bugs not so bad, which is good for Caorle. And yeah, tiny bit of breeze, but it's calmed. A beautiful day, beautiful place to be. Great to bring you this ultimate action. Zip, Brandstetter. Gladish, surprise, surprise. Gladish gets it through traffic. Kanchka. Kvetchkova, but nobody home there. That one's going back to Reading.
So a slightly strange one there, not quite sure what she saw that throw going up. There's no one in the vicinity, not even a Reading player in the vicinity, so I don't know there was a miscommunication of expecting someone to cut into that space, but this is another chance for the Reading D-line to increase the pain on leftovers after that momentum swing they had early on in the second half.
Groot chipping away over there as well. They've extended to a 3-point lead, 9-6. Groot over disconnection for the time being. Andy Lewis gets hand blocked there. Gladish gets it back for disconnection.
Pumping his fist, he knows that's big.
Bex Palmer poaching big time in the lane, and you see Kmetsova was wide open for the center sing. Bex Palmer rests over there again. Oh, big contact. Gladish and Coward. Coward steps into the lane and gets taken out by Gladish.
That was not pretty.
Oof. Not necessarily a foul by my estimation on Gladish's part. Coward did step in front of the charging body there. She subjected herself to this one.
I think it's tough for Gladish to react there. It is tough for him to react there, given the fact that he's running towards it, he's running towards the disc, and he's in the air by the time that contact happens. I don't think there's a great deal he can do to avoid that, but that doesn't mean it's any less
gutsy
severe.
Defensive effort. I do. It's tough to say with the injured player on the ground. In my estimation, is the one who fouled Gladish. Gladish happened to be the bigger body, and she took the brunt of the impact.
Looks like she's okay, which again, we've had a couple of these collisions. That is the main thing. Looks like she's okay. She's calling injury, but is walking off the field, which is good to see, and it looks to be an uncontested foul as well.
That's all good news. Well resolved. We like to see that.
Yeah. Made of stern stuff, Rosie Coward. And on comes Jen Hagen.
Here come disconnection. Disconnection. Leftovers. Gladish on the doorstep, flips that one in, and they do get a goal in the end. It is Batushek cashing in, 9-12. They get a hold, and Reading will make the long walk of shame to put their O-line back on.
Yeah, really important hold for Leftovers. They obviously gave up a break right after getting themselves back into this game. So now we have a hold, and it's 12-9. Reading's offense goes back out there to try and march further towards that place in the final. As we see the scoring pass from Gladish, one of the key players on this Czech team, as we've seen all game. We'd expect Brandstätter to be out there again, but Brandstätter and Bignell having a discussion, and Danny Ryle there as well. Danny Ryle, I think Bignell and Ryle maybe the spirit captains for Reading, having a chat with Brandstätter. Looks like that chat all went well, and it looks as though Brandstätter's having a point off. You can see the sweat starting to soak through that flat cap from here, Steph.
Yeah, he's working hard. He's not going to be able to wear that one out to the ball next week unless it gets some serious dry cleaning.
See Reading's fan club there. Little picture of holding up the sign.
Keeping it real. Bringing the love from Reading to Caorle. Go Daddy signs. Not Go Daddy. Pull caught up in the wind, lands at midfield, and the sidelines are starting to get rowdy. The Czech contingent has arrived. Fui showed up. That one goes deep and kicked and bobbled and dropped. And thus far, the Czech contingent adding much needed assistance.
Yeah, it was a strange drop. It looked like Nicole Lester had that in her hands and just couldn't quite reel it all the way in. It was a nice shot to find her, but it has got a lot noisier on the sideline in the last 30 seconds or so, hasn't it?
Indeed it was. That one dumped, and safely so, into the hands of Schifernova. Ooh, popped up, bounced, bobbled, caught on the second effort. Zipped over our tent. That one's going deep. Kundna Big grab with 2 defenders on her. Stepanek goes wide. That one's low, but maintained possession. Kotek. Shifnerova. Jurassic. Kotek. Oh, and finally given to turf.
The difference, I think, in the last few points, just apart from the noise, but leftovers have really started to use their female matching players much better. It's a fantastic catch by Kotek on the sideline here. 2 defenders in a way, and she still manages to reel it in. The women of female matching players of leftovers doing a great job of really taking it to their Reading counterparts, which they did not have the opportunity to do earlier in the game, really.
Hoagie getting in a little quarrel in the middle of the field there, shoulder to shoulder.
They're calling a foul as he tries to come in. It does look a little half of one, or 6 of one, half a dozen of the other on that one. It looked to me to be not an egregious foul. There's certainly some contact, but I don't know if the defender is entirely responsible for that. But I'll have a quick chat.
How come it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, and not 12 of one and a dozen of another?
Don't argue with language, Steph. You've done that once already, and frankly, I'm sick of it.
Frankly, I'm not too concerned about where you're at.
This discussion seems to be going on for a long time for a fairly innocuous foul.
Yeah, doesn't really do much to the outcome.
You see Caorle up, walking around, smiling on the sideline. To see after that big collision.
She's back.
Far end zone. The energy's gone from the sideline with this stoppage as well. It might have been a
tactical.
Might be a nice tangential outcome for Reading.
Hoagie on his bike, but that one shot beyond him. Wow, what a catch by Roberts. Defender in front, and Hogan, Connor Hogan on his bike and gets the reception in the end for the goal.
It's really good concentration by Roberts because that defensive hand was really close to that disc. It was, I wonder if it was a high stall shot by Lewis because Helen Roberts was already very deep down the field. She was past halfway when that disc came out. He's got a really big arm, but we can see on our dramatic pan here that this comes out. And there, the shot goes to Roberts. From Roberts to Hogan. Kind of a swift celebration, just popping it out behind him, but yeah, great celebration.
Rugby pass spike.
Rugby pass spike. Yeah, great concentration, sorry, from Helen Roberts to wheel that in under some decent pressure. You see here the throw come up. Just really concentrate on it, basically hits her in the chest.
Yeah, but that distraction in front,
makes it very hard.
Yeah, it's really hard to focus and concentrate where that's going to lay. Well, you got to read the disc where it's going to land on its natural path anyways is not easy. And then when you have to account for the high potential of a touch and a mac and a change, it just makes it that much more difficult, and job well done there. Bex Palmer pulls it, but looks like it's out of bounds, hit the line.
Very close, very close. But 2 points away for Reading now.
Brick mark decided on, they weren't sure. There was some insistence by our perspective, hit the line, landed out. Brick granted. Brandstetter with Bignell on his hip. Brandstetter's gone deep. Looks a bit too deep, but I could be wrong. Kretsova, she's running into the cornfields across the road. Celebrating that one. I was indeed wrong. That's a goal and a 10th point for the leftovers.
I wonder if that was called on the line because that was absolutely immediate. It was no hesitation from Brandstetter. Got the disc and just ripped it over the heads of the Reading defenders. No hesitation. Look at this. No, turns around and just boom.
Turns it, burns it.
And a great rundown. Good score for leftovers. They're keeping it close. It looked in the first half, at the end of the first half, like we might have a game that was running away from them, that Reading were going to storm to the final, storm from the semi-finals to the final. Fairly straightforwardly, but they've done a great job pulling themselves back into this, the Czech team. Very impressive with their momentum shifting, Stefan Patso trademark run. And then they've been trading in the last few points, but they are running out of time. 2 points away, Reading, from the final. O-line back out here to try and consolidate their advantage and get them ever closer to that matchup against what looks to be Brute, although that game over there is still not finished either. This connection still fighting for that spot.
Reading O-line, slow to pick up. Gets Wilson on the under. Hogan shaking and baking. Deep shot comes. Bignell there. Gladish in tow. Bignell up early, but a bit of a misread. Can't get his hand on it. No call. Happy to see that.
Yeah, definitely just Bignell went up slightly early, knowing he was under pressure from Gladish. Good contest from the Czech defender. And now Leftovers have a chance to snatch another break.
Gladish. Kudna. Zeleshna. Valtarova. Jurasek. Oh! Hand block, point block. Wilson shuts the door.
So difficult to get them on those high loopy passes as well. Wilson got his hand up there and knocked it away.
Connor Hogan thought he stepped in, but not quite. Moonwalks back a bit. He's gonna look for this assist on his own accord, but dumps to Bignell. That corner is very clogged. Defense chance coming the other way. Bignell with a beautiful release. A lot of touch on that throw. He celebrates with the fist pump, and they got 14 in Reading land.
Yeah, it was very congested, wasn't it, Steph, at the front of that stack? But Andy Lewis coming all the way around the back, and like you say, Bignell steps back and uses that lefty flick. We've mentioned it a few times. Uses it to great effect to just bend it around into the path of Andy Lewis, the former Clapham player. He's got a European gold medal in his pocket from Clapham. I think he's got one with Reading as well from 2016. So a lot of experience. Andy Lewis is able to really in despite the good defensive effort from Brandstetter, I believe, was the one laying out. I feel like I saw that flat cap flying through the air. See the replay of that hand block from Wilson. And Bignell, you can see his left foot's just pointed forward here, and he just gives himself some room, stepping back all the way around, and there's Lewis able to reel it in at the back and spike it with authority.
Beautiful touch, I'll say that again too. The pivot, the step back, the space, the left-handedness, the natural left-handedness, but he just had this little bit of, drop that wrist straight away, put the extra, almost like an air bounce into a flick. Yeah. A beautiful, beautiful throw. Disc in hand for Leftover. Gladish. A turn here would be untimely. Brandstetter. Gladish. Ooh, that's low to Preusel, but he hangs on.
Did very well there.
Gladish. Kmetsova. Gladish. Leftovers stringing together. Litsoka. Gladish finally got open but couldn't get hit. Brandstetter. And that one to Batushek, but there's a pick on the play.
A lot of switching and poaching by Reading on this point. Bex Palmer was barely marking anybody for the first half of this field, just trying to get in the way, trying to sit in lanes, discourage throws into easy spaces. Leftovers done a really, really good job of managing to keep it moving, despite the fact that they were having all those options taken away, and they're now in an attacking red zone.
Gladish right in that attacking corner, 5 meters out with the disc, having a look, shot for goal. Batushek there. Leftovers back on the board. This one is not over yet. 11-14, still in favor of Reading.
Not over yet at all. It was really good cutting from Batushek going into the end zone. Dom Knight did a good job hanging with him for a good few changes of direction, but Matuszek stuck with it. His throw stuck with him, put it over the top. Dom Knight couldn't quite get there, and Matuszek reels it in. 14-11. So Leftovers done really well. It's a couple of different points getting back into this game. Their D-line is definitely asking more questions and creating more problems for Reading's O-line, but they now have to ask questions 4 times. They need 4 scores out of this Reading O-line. It's going to be difficult, Steph.
It's going to be difficult. I mean, what we asked of them to change the momentum, they could do. That was 3. So that's going to be difficult. What we asked of them to change the momentum was to get a hold, break, break. Now they get to do hold, break, break, break without anything else in between. It is a very, very tall task. I've seen 14-11 in my days, and I've seen it erased.
Absolutely.
Against some great teams. I was lucky enough to play in to coach in a Tom's tournament this year, where Clapham had a 14-11 lead over Is No Good, and Is No Good found a way to come back out of that one and take the game. And then it happened again in the final of that very same tournament. So these things can happen against Bologna that time.
Leftovers going to draft in Joe White. Is that what's going to happen here?
Well, he had nothing to do with that. It was a whole team effort. Joe White is an exceptional player. He had a lot to do with it. But it was, I still maintain, everybody put in there. Hogan gets the under to Wilson. Reading with a chance to feature in the final. Lewis with the disc. Far sideline. Now they're in the red zone. Roberts with the disc. Flick for goal. That one counts. Klima's got the celebration spike. And Reading are going to the show.
Yeah, brilliant offensive point. Andy Lewis went deep. 2 people came with him, terrified of the option that he offers deep. Sam Wilson comes underneath. Loads of space. Reading are off to the races. 2 or 3 open passes. There's the score. Emma Klima celebrates, as do her teammates, and we will see them tomorrow in the mixed division final.
Thank you all for joining us. A wonderful game. Reading flexing. Leftovers had a great run this weekend and will play for bronze tomorrow. Thank you at home for joining us. As always, a quick reminder to click those buttons, like, subscribe, help us out on Patreon if it's in your good hearts. Otherwise, I've been Stefan Rapazzo with Sean Colfer. Thanks again. We will see you tomorrow.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
ULTI.TV.